Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to JT's Mixtape. This is episode number 69. And if you guys are enjoying these podcasts, please give me a 5-star review on either Apple or Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
Come closer, my child.
What's going on, y'all? This podcast is brought to you by Modern Roots Life. Modern Roots Life is a Christian-owned and operated company, and it's bringing real health back to its roots. They offer powerful, all-natural health supplements such as beef liver, cod liver oil, beef tallow, magnesium, and mineral-rich salts, all sourced the way God intended. Clean, simple, and from the earth. So whether you're looking to boost your energy, restore mineral balance, or just fuel your family with real nourishment, Modern Roots Life has got you covered. Guys, in this community, we're trying to get healthy in our mind, in our body, and our spirit. So don't neglect your health. If you want more information, check out modernrootslife.com and check the link in my description. You know, people often ask me how they can support me. Well, I think it's pretty cool if you can support me by supporting the people who support me, and you get something in return. And being healthy is a pretty good return. Well, we got the whole crew here today. Once again, I'm your host, JT. I've got Demon Racers. What's going on, Brian? He's got a beautiful t-shirt on.
Oh, yeah. Jesus said they'll be haters. I had to go through the comments in the last video and respond. I'm going to comment now. I'm going to go through the comments. Apparently, everybody loves to just hate on me because I don't respond apparently enough. So, yeah, you know, I'm a real person, by the way, guys. Just so you guys know, I am a real human being.
So
and
he
I
says.
So I'm going to go through and then just have respond to your guys' nasty comments. You guys are wonderful. You're so loving, though. I gotta admit, you guys are just so sweet and you're so loving. Some of you guys.
I'm sure that's going to
Anyways.
help out. And then we also have Aaron, Tune Thy Heart. What's going on, Aaron?
What's up, everybody? Happy to be here.
Yeah. I was just joking offline before we got on here, and I was saying that I got accused on X of having an intern post the comments for me. And I was saying, I think it's kind of funny to think what maybe other people think outside of this, if they think that JT Studio is JT Inc. and it's like maybe this skyscraper. And I have all these different departments of like, here's my department of tweets here. And they handle all that. And then I have my editing department and I have my YouTube studio. Guys, it's really not that glamorous. It's really just me. Of course, I have some help from my bros, but that's pretty much it. There's no interns. Unfortunately, we don't have the budget here at JT Follows JC to hire anybody else yet.
JT Follows JC Inc. Right?
Yeah, JT Follows JC Inc. Incorporated. Yeah. It's really not incorporated. It's just one guy, pretty much. So maybe one day, Lord willing, that I'll have somebody to tweet for me. Yeah, I know a lot of the bigger accounts do that. And of course, it actually makes sense because, truth be told, the reason I don't comment more in the comment section and I don't comment on my own videos and things like that typically is because I'm working on the next video as you see the one video happen. And that's, you know, in order to bring you guys content regularly, it's a full-time job especially for one guy. I mean, I'm sure you guys get it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But don't worry, I'll comment for him.
Or Brian's intern will comment for him. Brian, get your intern on that.
Jump in there, shoot.
Unfortunately, this podcast, again, we record like on a Wednesday and then it gets released on a Monday. Of course, if you're on Patreon, you guys will see it usually by about noon Eastern on Friday. So you guys do get to see this week's news this week. Now, so I don't want to spend time. I'm going to drop a podcast this coming up soon about the Mike Huckabee with Tucker Carlson, which I think is really interesting. I think it's really important. Him challenging our ambassador to Israel, which it actually seems like Huckabee's the ambassador to Israel, to the United States, not vice versa. And I think it's really good because it's talking about very important issues. But we're not going to get into that today because I do have a podcast about that. But what's coming out this week, and of course, by the time you guys will see this, a lot of people are going to be talking about this, and I know this is not everyone's favorite subject in this audience, but Candace Owens is about to drop her expose on Erica Kirk, and man, Con Inc. is losing their minds on X. Have you seen any of this, Brian?
Oh yeah, I've seen some of it. All the people are like freaking out and like criticizing. She hasn't even dropped it yet, and they're already like attacking her.
Well, she released a trailer, and of course, it's got the spooky vibe to it, and it's all this.
Yeah,
I mean,
I haven't seen the trailer.
I know. Everybody in the audience screaming controlled opposition. I'm not saying she's not, and I'm not saying this is not like them playing the Hegelian dialect or trying to play both sides, but the reaction seems so coordinated, and of course, that doesn't preclude the idea that it is controlled. But some of these tweets about this upcoming expose. So you see, this is a small sample, but it's, put it this way, this is definitely across the board as far as like the typical quote unquote conservative Republican side of X. I'm convinced Candace Owens is a demon. Candace Owens is pure evil. She's a demon straight from the bowels of hell. Candace is a demon. Candace Owens is a demon from the pit of hell. I'm not sure if Candace Owens is merely a demon. I think the devil gave her, of course, the part gets cut off. What Candace Owens is doing is the most wicked satanic thing I've ever come from the online right.
Wow.
Whether you are a Candace fan or not, this is evil. Candace Owens is a genuine demon. I have no other explanation for why she's doing what she's doing.
Hey, I mean, at least people are saying demon a lot. Maybe they'll find my channel or something.
It's demons, bro. I mean, it's clearly demons, bro. I mean,
why is he saying that? Like, why is he stuck? Like, I don't understand.
Everybody's saying it, bro. Not just.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Multiple people.
This reminds me of. Have you ever seen those clips? I'm sure you guys have seen them, where they start putting together all these kind of local news, like just broadcasts, and they're repeating almost verbatim the same phrase, and they start splicing in the other people where it's like it's continuing to flow perfectly, because it's like, hey, here's a sheet of paper, like the fax machine comes out, they get a fax, and it's like, here's your talking points for today.
They probably sent out a message that said, include Candace Owens and call her a demon. Everybody call her a demon. Doesn't matter how you write it. Make sure you mention that she's demonic, okay? A demon. And they probably put that message out. So that way it like programs into people's heads what demon is. We need to have the demon talk because people aren't demons, but whatever. Like, I think it's hilarious.
I see that on social media all the time. In fact, I think I sent you a screenshot one time, JT, where like it's like as soon as the video gets to a certain status and it starts popping off or going like semi-viral, all of a sudden, like on TikTok, I've seen people in the comments and they're like, oh, all of my questions were answered when I read so-and-so's book, Hidden Dominion, or something like that. And then like all of a sudden, everyone's either replying to that, or there's like, I remember there was 40 separate comments that I deleted in one of the Echoes of Truth videos where everyone was recommending the same book, but they didn't do it until it got to X amount of views. And it was all of these comments within like a 10-minute period. It was obviously some kind of bot thing.
Yeah, I was about to say,
someone paid to have it pushed, or it was so bizarre though, dude. It felt demonic.
Yeah, here's X right now. Candace Owens is a demon. So we have a nice bot farm here where everybody's saying almost exactly the same thing. It is kind of funny. Like, I remember when I first got on social media and I was naive to the comment sections. And then so eventually somebody who was wise to this told me, hey, when you see somebody who's following like 6,000 people and no one's following them and they're commenting over and over again, and you're arguing with this person, you're a moron because you're arguing with a bot. Like, that's not actually a real person. So if you see that, if you get engagement on social media and you see those people commenting, block those people. Those are not people. Those are robots. That's AI doing that.
I don't know if it's AI doing it. I think some of it is people. I think they're just demons. I think the people are influenced by demons.
The point is this is a two-front thing. Well, at least two fronts. So you obviously have the paid influencers who are shilling for Con Inc. and the Zionist movement. And so Candace Owens was a darling to the right until she went against Israel. And then, so that's why like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, even like Charlie Kirk late in his life was starting to turn into a little bit of a pariah because his mind wasn't right regarding the nation state of Israel. And then, so that's the interesting thing, whether you believe Charlie Kirk is alive in Valhalla or something or not, that when he started to pivot his view on Israel and how he said what, like the last week of his life, he texted, he's forced to leave the Israel movement or the pro-Israel movement. He was getting attacked by all these people. They were calling him anti-Semitic. And these people are making his life a living hell at the very end. And then now Teep USA is not trying to, they're not trying to expose the people that were making Charlie's life hell at the end. They're embracing them. They're all bringing them in. And those are your speakers. So you have your Ben Shapiro speaking at AmFest. And like, so that's the pivot. And so I think that I'm sure in this expose that Candace is doing, it's going to talk about that. It's the fact that, or regardless if it was some lone gunman who was just wild and he had a furry girlfriend, what if you still said, oh, he did it, but I'm not going to be friends with the people who treated him horribly right at the end of his life. Instead, they're doing the opposite. So that's suspicious, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's totally suspicious. But I think the bot thing that I was going to mention about the bot thing is that I think a lot of people are just demonically under spells, and it's not even necessarily bots as much as it is people under spells that are commenting. Like, I think there's witchcraft going on, and I think that it may appear as bots, some of it. I think there is bots obviously being utilized. We know that because Israel's even admitted it to the bot communication thing. But this whole bot theory was before AI was like fully developed in a lot of ways to where it could respond properly. And now there's definitely kind of bot like commenting things and stuff. But I think some of it's just people, and they're just programmed. They're so programmed. The people act like the bot, and it's like calling them a bot isn't going to be helpful. Just ignore them or have a conversation with them or whatever. But but I would say that like also Candace Owens, whatever she is, like she's probably controlled op, I would say, but you got to understand how the controlled op works. Right now at this moment, she's on our team, even if she's controlled op, and she's pushing out agenda that is like kind of for our situation. So it's almost like until she shows the colors of her bad side, it's in some regard, I'm like, let's promote whatever she's doing, because it's like, you're pushing the right direction, even if you're going to be controlled op. The problem is when people worship her. That's what they want. That's what they want. They want everybody to be like, Candace Owens, she's amazing. She's amazing. Lift her on a shield. Lift her up. Lift her up. She's so good. She's our warrior. And then they drop her. And then the controlled op turns. And then she goes, well, listen, guys, just like Fuentes, listen,
Nick.
guys, oh, I know. Everybody's like, Fuentes, 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 Fuentes. And then they like cheering. And then all of a sudden Fuentes is like, yeah, but they really are kind of goyim. And you're like, wait a second. Wait a second. Like, wait, I thought you were against this whole thing. And so that's what Candace is. It's like they want everyone to get behind Candace to be like, Candace, Candace, Candace. And then Candace is going to go. And then when we start calling out all the satanic stuff, we're going to go, now call out the Satanic Catholic Church. And Candace is going to go, but guys, they're the Pope. The Pope is good. That's when I think her controlled op is going to be revealed, is when we start turning on Catholicism and the Pope stuff starts coming out in the wickedness. I think she's being put in place to be the controlled op that stops us from seeing she's like another shield of some kind, right? So each person that's controlled op is put in position to shield a certain sector, right? So it's like Fuentes was designed to attack this, but to shield Catholicism. And I think Candace is in the same way designed to attack the narrative, but also shield Catholicism too. But I think that's what they're being brought into. So that way it's like, we attack only so far, but when we get to this part, we attack. And then there's people on the other side that are designed to shield the Judaism, but attack Catholicism, right? And so it's like, it's a show and they're all put in place as some kind of control system, but they've got their control triggers or their things that they're supposed to shield. I don't know. That's my theory.
No, I mean, that makes sense that you can't help but see that what's really been going on lately. And there was the, forget her name, was it Carrie Prejean something? She was on that religious freedom, committee, and she got kicked off because she was questioning Zionism. And of course, she's a recent convert to Catholicism. So a lot of these people who are pretty woke to the Zionism stuff, they almost all happen to be Catholics.
Right? That's the
I mean,
pattern.
I definitely sense the pattern here. So yeah, you could be correct about that. But yeah, I mean, of course, there's bots, but there's also NPCs. And when we talk about influencers, like people are really influenced. So it becomes like an idolatrous thing. Well, this is our person, right? And it's like the Albert Pike thing. We're going to get our leaders. Okay, so now she's our leader, right? You're quote unquote our leader. And then so everything she says is everything's Team Candace. And so eventually it all becomes this false dichotomy of like team sports. And that's why like the Republican Democrat thing doesn't really sell anymore. So now it's this or that. And then so, yeah, like don't ever trust anyone fully. I mean, that's the thing with like Tucker Carlson. I bring it up all the time that, yeah, I mean, he's obviously got connections with the 3-letter agencies in his family. And of course, like we said last week, we're talking about these people all being related and these bloodlines going back.
Just
and so
like
that
Alex is related to all of them.
Right. They're all related.
How would Alex know about Bohemian Grove? I just think that's funny. It's like, obviously, how would you even freaking know about something like that if you
how
weren't
would you
connected?
be allowed to expose it and live? Like, I think it's really simple. It's like, if you're in the public square,
Well, they let people live all the time, but
if you're in the public square and you have millions of followers and you're talking about some of these things that the average person is not allowed to talk about and they keep you alive, like it's pretty safe to say that they're opposition. They're controlled opposition.
No, I wouldn't agree with that because we call crap out all the time. We call it out.
We
all
don't
the
have
time.
millions of. Did you hear my caveats? If you have millions of followers, and you're in the public square,
if you have millions,
we're not in the public square.
True,
we're
okay,
nobodies.
Well, we talked about. It's funny.
That's
true.
True.
I'm supposed to collaborate with John Pounders again, and we were talking about that like him and us, we're very confused about what we can and can't say on these platforms. And that's why, just for safety's sake, a lot of times I do just put the stuff over on Patreon. But then I hear about people's Patreons being nuked, them getting rid of them off Patreon too. So, I mean, obviously we got to like be careful about what we can say, because we often mention that if you listen to some of the bigger podcasts, if we knew we could say everything that's being said on a Joe Rogan's podcast or Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson's podcast, we wouldn't have to put anything. We wouldn't have to make an uncensored cut. It would just be the podcast. But we believe, and I think we're correct about this, that we cannot get away with the things that they can get away with. So the real question is why? And I think they want it to be nebulous. We've always said, like, especially if you're like ever use like app like TikTok, nobody really knows what you can say, because you see all the same things you said that your video got taken down for. And like, so we have to wonder aloud, like, hey, maybe this person's part of the club, because how did their videos go viral when we're getting banned for saying the exact same thing that is being elevated in the algorithm?
I have a theory on that. And I
What's
think
your
it's because I've contemplated this idea. It comes down to how well you articulate, how well you do not pontificate your perspective, and how lucky you are with whoever's reviewing your content. Because you got to think there is a person that eventually gets to watching your content that they decided to ban your stuff or nuke your stuff or change your things. And I know this is true because I've heard somebody talking about how like they evaluate content for determining if it gets popular or not. And then I had it happen to my account. And like for the longest time, my videos were totally fine. And then someone went through all my videos on TikTok and just like block, 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 just like went down the list. And it was like, oh, so I got someone that was on my account that watched my stuff, that when they watched my video to flag it, it got flagged, right? When they watched it, they were like, I don't think I can flag this video. I mean, he didn't say anything, and I'm sure the content creator, and this is what I think happened with Ian Carroll specifically. I think the people watching it were like convinced watching the video that this was like interesting and maybe not so quack theory, and then whoever the regulator was might have just become a fan of the person, and so they just didn't.
I don't know, Brian. That sounds a little bit.
That's
I mean,
my theory.
I also think that it's one of the huge things that makes a difference on whether or not your stuff gets flagged is, are you posing a question? Are you asking? Like, one of my favorite strategies on social before I got my accounts banned was
banned twice.
Banned twice was, what if? But I also think one of the reasons I got banned is because I forgot to do this in some of my videos. But I would say, what if this and that? What if this and that? And so it would be like, obviously I'm saying this is what I kind of believe, but I want you guys to go on an exploration with me of what if.
I've always done that.
That's a really good tactic.
That doesn't keep you safe, because I've always
it does.
Done that.
It totally works really well. Most things.
More than the other, though, is what I'm saying.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That's what Ian Carroll does on all of his videos. He just goes, it's pretty.
He started getting flagged too. But anyway, we should watch some videos. Does anybody got anything they want to start with? I've got some Disney content today.
I do.
A new thing. All right, let's go with Aaron. Aaron raised his hand. What you got?
I got a really good one for us. Did you guys see it?
No.
Okay,
check this out.
At all. Do it again.
So let me go to a spot where it's zoomed in. Okay. Look at this perfect circle, dude, in the trees right here.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it now, I guess.
Perfect circle. And there's rings. So there's like a circle here. There's a circle here. There's a circle here. And so like, I can't do it. I don't know how to do it, I should say, on this screen. But like, if you zoom in, it's not an overlay. It's not CG. Like, the trees are actually flowing. They're actually like growing different in those spots to make a perfect circle in all of these spots. So let me play it over again.
Play it again.
Oh yeah.
You can see them moving.
The Fibonacci pattern, like that. This is
that's like
nature is creating a fingerprint of God in there.
I don't know, man. What it reminds me of is like the vortexes in Sedona, where you've got those trees that are literally twisting into themselves and growing in spirals. Like, it almost feels to me like there's some I mean, obviously in the comments section, people are just like, it's a portal, and I'm like, listen, I can't say it's not a portal. Like, there's obviously something energetic going on there that's forcing those things to grow in that way. And the bottom line is, we don't know. We don't have the answer. Like, I just find that stuff absolutely fascinating.
Well, yeah, there's definitely the idea, because I was thinking about that. So in Sedona, you see these juniper trees, and sometimes you see them growing normally, and then where you see on the trail map that it says there's a vortex, they're all completely spiraled, and they're all completely twisted around themselves. So that makes sense.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a real phenomenon. Like, so what really causes that? I mean, is it something about the electromagnetism of the earth, something coming up and forcing plant life to do that? I mean, just based on like just normal plants, they reach toward the sun. Like, plants naturally grow toward where the sun is. So what's causing them to grow in a spiral, in some kind of a circle? I mean, it could be another type of vortex right there.
Yeah, it's fascinating. There could be a cell phone tower right across the street aimed that way. You know what I mean? There could be a bunch of stuff. All I know is that night I had a dream that the night that I saw that, I had a dream that I was going through portals and water.
Ooh,
I was like,
what?
It was one of the coolest dreams I've ever had, to be honest with you. Most of the time my dreams are stressful and I'm working some kind of job for somebody. But in this particular dream, I went into a portal through water. So it was always in water. Well, except for one portal. I went through this water, took me through a portal, took me to a whole nother realm, like a whole nother land where there was like a little city and no one lived there. I was the only one that had access to it. And then I took another portal while I was in that city into like another realm, into another land. I did it like 7 layers deep. Like I kept going through another portal to go to another place.
So I will tell you from my experience with portals and water in witchcraft, a lot of people that go through deliverance have like water portal dream stuff. It's pretty common, actually. In fact,
That's crazy.
You know what's interesting about that?
Mhm.
I started watching that show Foundation on Apple TV. I got it recommended by one of the people in the audience to check that out. Very interesting show. And Aaron, you've seen it. You haven't seen it yet, have you, Brian?
Yeah, I've seen them all.
This isn't crazy spoilers because they tell you it's in the trailer. There's this empire that is taking over the universe for, I don't know, for thousands of years, I guess. And there's this mathematician that prophesies that it's all going to be destroyed, going to be delivered unto chaos. And part of it has something to do with these religious zealots that are going to turn on the empire. So the emperor goes to this planet, which has some kind of mythology about the three mothers that were like some kind of trinity, and then they were separated. And when they were separated, life came about. And so he's trying to get them on his side. And so, long story short, he's a clone. And I'm gonna talk about that this week. I think I'm actually going to do a podcast with Guy Anderson again. He's talked about cloning a lot, and I think there's a lot of interesting parts about that. But I thought was interesting in that show kind of relates to what you guys are both talking about. There's this pilgrimage on this planet that all the religious people do. They walk this spiral, and it's like this super treacherous trek to do this.
Yeah.
And then when they walk down this spiral, and I guess they can't have any food or water. And if they go down to one knee, they're allowed help to get up. But if they go down to two knees, they're dead. They basically have to sacrifice themselves to the goddess mother or whatever. But eventually they get to this cave, and in the cave, it's like this salt water, the salt pond. When you get into there, there's a vision that comes from this. And like everybody who experiences this is some supernatural thing.
Allegedly.
Well, allegedly. But I mean, that's the interesting part, though. But it all takes place when you get to this pool of water at the cave of this goddess mother thing, or this triune goddess. And then they have a vision, and whatever that vision is, I guess, supposed to put your life on some kind of a path, or supposed to reveal something about yourself. But I mean, it's clearly got portal vibes.
So to answer your question, I thought that scene was fascinating from the perspective of, it reminded me of the Christian walk, because like for so much of my life, and this is part of my testimony. One of my main struggles was I wasn't experiencing an intimacy with the Holy Spirit. I wasn't hearing from the Holy Spirit. I didn't have any like miraculous encounters where it was like so obvious the Holy Spirit was like speaking to me or trying to show me something. And so I wasn't necessarily lying about it, but I mean, I was having faith that like someday I would, or one day I would. But it just kind of reminded me about that whole experience, right? Where you've got some people that genuinely, because I knew the people that I had talked to before that had genuinely had encounters with Jesus or the Holy Spirit. I mean, I've got some friends who literally heard the voice of Jesus, and that's how they got saved. Like they were in the middle of living in the world, and they heard the literal voice of Jesus call to them, and they had nothing to do with him before that. They might have even been a part of another religion. And then they started, they turned and they repented, and they had this like beautiful encounter. I'd never experienced anything like that. And so, kind of a spoiler alert, but he lies about having his experience, right?
Right.
Like he straight up lies about having his experience, and he comes out and everyone's like, oh, like it's proof that like everything they say is real about this religion and the spiritual aspect of this religion. And no, there's so many fascinating correlations to that show and the way things work. And I'm sure you're going to get to the clone bodies of Empire and Brother Dawn and
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
teaser for what this podcast, I'm going to bring this up, is kind of, I want to talk about The Prestige again as one of my favorite movies that I always like to bring up.
Fantastic movie.
You have the cloning stuff in there, but you also have the double stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have the doubles for certain people, and you also have twins.
Yep.
And I want to connect that with the idea of the Operation Paperclip doctor who went down to South America and started doing all these experiments with, like, I guess, in vitro fertilization. And then you have a massive amount of twins and triplets down there. I'm going to float the idea. What if those twins and triplets that were created by the scientists are interacting? It could be very famous people on the public stage, right? Is it more likely that they wouldn't do anything with that idea, or would they use that in the same way that it was used for the magic in The Prestige? You know what I'm saying?
No, dude, the elite are all about, I don't know, some people hate calling them that, call them what you want, but they're all about their twins. They're all about utilizing their twins for so many different reasons.
Just think about even like the Roman mythology about how Rome was founded with Romulus and Remus. Weren't they twin brothers? Right?
I just think of Ashley, Kate, and Olsen, the Olsen twins, or whatever. What are their names?
Well, right. There's like many TV shows. I don't want to talk about too much today because I'm going to definitely talk about it soon. But that idea that, like there's a lot of TV shows where they talk about how that even, I want to say in Stranger Things, that the little girl, the little sister, she was a twin. And that's what they often say in a lot of these TV shows when they have a child playing a certain role. It's very difficult, I guess, probably based on the hours that they work, to get a child to behave for that long. So they get two of them, right?
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? So if those people grow up to be somebody, maybe it never gets revealed that they had a twin.
Like, you mean like twins that are all on the space, the Challenger?
Right, exactly. That just so happens these people go to outer space or have twins. This is kind of unusual. Okay, I want to shift gears.
Wait,
I
gotta say something about the witch thing, because the portal thing.
Okay.
So the portal thing, though, you mentioned, just so you know, the water aspect of that portal thing. Yeah. Like people that go through deliverance, there's I have a friend that had this kind of experience too. They get trapped in bubbles. Witches will trap people in like bubbles of water, and you'll be stuck in a bubble of water. And there's also a spiraling practice that you do in witchcraft where you walk through this little spiral maze to like channel your vessel. And it's all very much reminiscent of witchcraft, all that thing you were explaining. And it's fascinating because they put this kind of stuff in the shows to like normalize people, this kind of stuff, to be like, oh yeah, it's normal. Oh, look, here's the spiral, here's the water, here's the this. And it's like, that's straight, like subtly implanting normalization of occult witchcraft stuff in people's minds, I think. And it's very, I don't know, just very fascinating. It's interesting.
So are you saying my dream of escaping and going through all those portals was me escaping a bubble that some witch placed me in a long time ago?
Could have been something like that, bro. I don't even know.
Well, praise Jesus.
Yeah, hallelujah.
Well, witches, I'm out your bubble.
Yeah,
well, there is obviously the inversion aspect of it, where, you know, biblically, the firmament could almost be considered a bubble. We're surrounded by water on all sides. Obviously, when Jesus is giving the Great Commission, he's telling them to make disciples of all nations and also baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So Jesus tells Nicodemus that you can't be born again unless you're born again through water and spirit. So the witchcraft is an inversion of that, so that they're using water as well. And that's probably why you always see there's like a very common trope in music videos and in movies, or, you know, just like where they do like magazine covers and stuff, or like magazine shoots, and they're often shown these celebrities in a bathtub.
Yeah,
that's like all the time.
But it's not always it's not
all the time.
It's not full of water usually. The bathtub's just full of milk or blood or some other substance of, you know. And it's fascinating too, is like the Wizard of Oz, like the witch, when she gets baptized, she dies. Isn't that funny? The water that melts her.
But you know what? It just made me think of this. And I'll have to dig up the video later because I don't have it ready for us right now. But you know, a lot of people were talking about, of course, with the Epstein files coming out, a lot of people are kind of looking back and seeing some of maybe the code, some of the stuff that they were revealing for a long time. That back in the day, back in my day, when children went missing, they were shown on milk cartons.
Yeah.
Right. That was like a common thing. That's where oh, you're going to end up on a milk carton because you're going to be disappeared. And then then it might have been like the early 90s. So that was probably more of a normal thing because obviously milk typically, I mean, they still have milk cartons, but typically milk comes in jugs now for the most part. That in the 90s, they had this campaign of Got Milk. And they showed all the celebrities with the milk mustaches.
Yeah, dude. It was so prevalent everywhere, that advertising campaign.
I don't what was it alluding to?
Well, that's we're just like people are correlating the idea that you have missing children.
I see what you're saying.
On cartons, and then all these celebrities with milk mustaches. And then
long before these files dropped, there was a different way that they were displaying the missing kids that were a part of their operation. It was called the Milk Project, and it started in 1993. What they would do is place the missing kids on the side of the milk carton. And over 180 A-list celebrities were a part of it. I know many people remember the Got Milk movement, that they would put milk mustaches on a lot of advertisement. And guess who was the first celebrity to be a part of this Got Milk movement? None other than Naomi Campbell, and then the list of celebrities go on, which you could read right there. Now, what you need to know is that Naomi Campbell is mentioned in multiple files. And just 2 years after Jeffrey Epstein got out of jail, she was inviting him to a lot of fashion events. She was facilitating him into all of these industry spaces. That's her right there with Ghislaine Maxwell, which we just saw a video surface, her using her Fifth Amendment. This is a post of one of the survivors talking directly to Naomi Campbell, saying that she saw her at parties, she saw her in Epstein's home, on the plane, getting her hair cut, etc. She saw the abuse happening, but she didn't do absolutely anything. Needless to say, most of the industry is in on this, and there's no such thing as coincidences. They follow an agenda, but the most important part is that it is a spiritual contract that they need to abide by. They just had a different form of displaying it back then.
Got milk. What does that mean? It's kind of a funny thing too, because it's like
they're trying to say they were pushing everyone to drink more milk because calcium's good for your bones. That was the whole pitch. But there was something way more. Like, looking back at it now, there was something way more diabolical about it all. Because it was like all these celebrities, all of them drinking milk, and the whole campaign was all of them had a milk mustache. All of them.
Yeah, no, it was like pro athletes, politicians, it was movie stars, pop stars, it was all of them.
Bro,
they were all doing, everybody was doing this campaign for milk. Dude. It's kind of funny too, because do people even drink milk anymore? I mean, that's not really
like a thing. That. Well, I mean,
I do sometimes.
From work,
I'll be
hard
honest.
day at work outside. Let me get some milk.
You remember? Was it the scene in Anchorman where after he gets fired and he's walking the streets and milk was a bad decision. It's like, oh, it's so hot. Milk was it's funny
milk.
because it's like, I guess the milk mustache is kind of like a kid drinking milk, because kids don't know how to drink things properly.
Yeah.
So they take a cup of milk and they tilt it all the way up where it's like over the whole face. Because adults don't really drink milk like that. They don't drink anything like that where it's covering the top of your mouth.
You don't do that, JT? I thought everybody does that.
No, I have a regular mustache. I don't have a milk mustache. No, but I mean, back in the day, I mean, we were talking about before about how if you watch old sitcoms and movies, they're very often you see at dinner time, they've got, some kind of a protein. They got some steak or some chicken. They got their starches and their vegetables. They have a glass of water and they have a glass of milk.
Yeah, it's really strange.
But nobody really drinks milk like that. I mean, when's the last time you had a glass of milk with your dinner?
Are we going to ask that question for reals? Because that was Tuesday for me. Okay.
I mean, no judgment if you do.
You're judging me, bro. I feel being judged.
I'm just saying it was a common thing before. I don't think it's very common. And
You're
I
right,
think
though.
that
It's not
out of,
common. It's definitely not
out
common.
of all the things that I would accuse Brian of being common would not be one of them.
Yo, back to twins. This may cut into what you plan on talking about,
Let's
but
just
I
talk about it. We can
literally
talk
just
about it.
saw this last night.
Put together. No one else can understand it.
And you and I are like sisters. Sisters. Hallie, we're like twins.
I'm telling you, man. There's definitely something there. Even
Wasn't
think
that
about
supposedly like what was that supposedly? What's her name? The redhead girl in the Parent Trap. Was that
that was
supposedly she played?
Lindsay Lohan. Yeah,
She played both parts supposedly, right?
Yeah. Well, supposedly, right? That's
Okay.
what was the?
That'd be a hard secret to keep if she didn't play both parts.
Unless it was a tiny set.
Well, again, we're going to talk about it a little bit. I'm going to talk about it more with Guy Anderson, but well, just think about what that's showing you in The Prestige. Is that Christian Bale had a twin? Was it a hard secret to keep? Yes, it was. It literally took one of them sacrificing a half of his life in order to be able to perform this one magic trick. And that was, I mean, like that, I think that's the key to that movie is like the willingness to go all in for this one deception. Like that's what the movie was about. Because remember the scene where they learn how that like that Chinese magician did that one was a disappearing fishbowl trick or disappearing fish
between his legs.
Yeah, so he had to perform the trick by walking with a fishbowl between his legs when he was on stage in order to do the trick. So in order for the trick to work, he had to walk around like he was a crippled person outside of the theater.
But I think
it was
you're
like
right.
it was the dedication to the. It was like that was the whole point. It was like the dedication to this craft was literally a whole life pursuit.
Yeah,
on this one deception.
They're showing us what they're willing to do to deceive people with one thing, and in that case, it was just for a magic trick in an audience or in an amphitheater, like.
Right.
So no, I definitely think there's something to that. Have you guys seen? I don't know his name, but it's like this old black guy with white hair, and he's super smart. And he talks about a lot of things, and they would seem crazy to someone that's not paying attention to things. But I remember watching him talk about Trump, and he has been saying for years Trump has a twin. And he was like, there's two Trumps. He was like, there's the Trump. He's like, one of them wears a red tie, and one of them wears a blue tie. And he was like, and that's how you know the difference. He's like, because sometimes he's like the one that wears a red tie acts completely different than the one that wears the blue tie. And he's like, and if you pay attention and you watch in the media which one of them is talking, he's like, they usually have different stances on things, or they handle different topics like separately.
Interesting.
And the theory also goes, there's obviously a huge conspiracy theory out there that eventually he is going to take, well, I got to be careful how I say this. Eventually something bad's going to happen to him that he's not going to narrowly escape by getting clipped in the air is what the theory is. And
then he'll be alive miraculously.
Correct. Which obviously will go hand in hand with feeding into the whole
beast
Antichrist.
System.
Yeah. Yep.
That seems a little far fetched for me, but I mean, it's interesting. I could see how they could play something out like that if they were trying to.
It's hard to imagine somebody as public as Trump for that to work. But let's just say it's happening at any place, in any kind of business or public view. Well, then it could happen anywhere. If what we're saying, what we're saying is accurate. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's right about this, but certainly that, again, if it comes back from this idea that the scientists from Germany came in and started doing these things, and so this would have been, I guess, so you say this is post-World War II, so it would have been if he started doing this stuff. Well, of course, it doesn't obviously preclude the fact that he was doing this while they were in Germany. So this would have been people being born in the 40s, maybe even the 30s, through, I mean, I don't know, like the 70s. And then so these twins from there, what are they doing now? We just know that they created a lot of twins and triplets there. So is it hard to believe that they were eventually there was a purpose to this twin program?
Well, twins beget twins, so even if they were twins, like even those families will preclude to continue to have other twins. You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean?
There's a more propensity for that
Yeah.
same kind of thing to be genetically passed down.
Yeah, so even if
Absolutely.
it's
So
not them that they're the twins, maybe they had children from that program and they're part of the occult. I mean, we know that the Nazos, or whatever you want to call them, we're not going to say their name fully. They're obviously involved in things and continue to be involved in stuff. So if they were doing a bunch of twinning, then I don't
yeah,
know.
so if you think about it, so especially in the story of the Prestige, I think the one thing's kind of interesting is the fact that so eventually he's accused of killing Hugh Jackman's character, who is a clone, right? That he killed, the clone dies. They find a dead clone, and then so gets pinned on Christian Bale's character. Well, one of them went to jail and one of them died, but one of them was still alive. So remember when he's revealed at the end of the movie, Hugh Jackman thinks he's dead, but he didn't know the whole time that he was a twin. And then so Hugh Jackman's character, in order to do whatever he was trying to do, the transporting man, his first iteration of the trick, Michael Caine was like, well, obviously Christian Bale's using a double. He's like, that's the only way this trick makes any sense. And then so what? They found a person who looked just like Hugh Jackman. And you think about with like plastic surgery, is this why potentially the celebs, not just because of vanity, they are going to these plastic surgeons and they're all kind of looking similar now? So what if that is a great way? If you don't have a twin, we can make you one.
Well, and then
We
at the
can
very
take
end,
somebody who looks a lot like you and make them almost identical based on plastic surgery.
and then at the very end, they show you the field where Tesla was really recreating he was really duplicating hats the whole time.
Right. Well, he had learned how to clone people through
That's
that
right.
in the movie.
So like they reveal to you like they had figured out a way to make duplicates of people and as many as they wanted. So it's like, man, that was a very, very revealing movie in so many ways. Like that's one of those weird movies that like sticks with you, dude. Like you don't.
But that's what I'm saying. I've talked about that movie so many times because again, you have body doubles, you have twins, and then you have actual cloning. And so what's kind of interesting about that, even if you think about the way that the movie's presented, is that the magicians are just illusionists. They don't do any actual real magic. It's all sleight of hand. But it's based on the consent of the audience in order to be tricked, right? So if you come see this magic show, you've acknowledged you want to be tricked, right? So that's part of what they do. And then Michael Caine makes a point to say that Tesla is actually a wizard.
Yeah, he says it's real magic.
Yeah, what he's doing is actual magic. So you have the magicians who are illusionists, and so they deceive based on having body doubles and twins, right? And then so the actual wizard is cloning people.
So just so you know, that's
Right.
actually real. That's actually real in the occult and in the magician circles. They all magicians that are. If you want to be a high level magician, you have to join the fraternity of Freemasonry. And in fact, in LA, there's this thing called the Magic Castle. And if you're a part of the Freemasonry, you get to go there for free. And so one of my friends growing up was a Freemason, and I always wanted to go. I didn't realize it was like totally occultic, and he would never take me. It was like so annoying. And I would be like, bro, take me to the Magic Castle. I want to go to the Magic Castle. And he'd be like, no, it's not for you because I wasn't one of the Mason elite things or whatever. But they all have like a special thing to go there, I found out. And then I found out a bunch of other stuff about it, that all the magicians get this attachment to the Magic Castle. And here's the crazy part. Magicians, you start off with doing sleight of hand tricks. And when you get to a certain level in magician whatever, you'll find out there's a whole nother level to magician magic that is all occultic, and it is all Like literally, you have to do a ritual to conjure a demon to make an agreement. And this is how mentalism works. And it's all, by the way, it's connected to Judaism too.
I got a great hypnotism video next.
Oh,
Brian,
okay, good. Yeah. Well, this is how hypnosis works. And in fact, I even paid a hypnotist a long time ago when I wasn't a Christian and I was like trying to look into this kind of stuff and I was studying the occult. I paid a hypnotist to tell me. I went to a hypnotist and paid him. I was like, I don't want to be hypnotized, but I want you to tell me how to do it and everything on how to become a hypnotist or whatever. And I went and I sat down with this dude and he wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't tell me. He told me there's a school and he said, you have to go to this school in LA that all the hypnotists go to. And he goes, I'm not going to I was like, can I just like pay you to like teach me what you know or things you know? And he was like, I'm not going to teach you. He goes, you have to make an agreement. And he said, you have to make an agreement at this school. Okay. And he said some stuff that was like read between the lines. And he was like, and you join it. And he goes, and once you make that agreement, you will acquire your ability. And I'm like, what do you mean agreement? What are you talking about,
Brian? You were a muggle.
Bro,
like, you're a muggle. You're a muggle.
I was a muggle trying to be.
You
I
had
wanted
to
to be.
speak to Dumbledore.
Yeah, that's literally what it's like. I was like the
At
muggle trying to
Hogwarts.
get in.
Well, do you remember? Did anybody watch the show Arrested Development?
No.
Great show.
Mhm.
But so, Joe Bluth over here, and he was in the Alliance of Magicians. We demand to be taken seriously. It's funny. Look, so you got the wizard guy over here. You got a clown over here. You got the guy with the top hat.
Bro, the top hat is the Freemasonry
Yeah,
hat, by
absolutely.
the way. That's
Absolutely.
the Freemason. That's what it's called, the top hat. So the top lodge of the Masonic Lodge is the only man that gets to wear the top hat. And we see it in the magician hats everywhere. It's so tethered in together. Guys, it's insane. Like, it's insane. And you realize the top level of magic. I'm going to tell you what it is. I figured it out by reading through lines and studying and reading a bunch of stuff. The top level of magic is literally you make an agreement with a demon, and that demon gives you ability to hear people's thoughts. That's what it is. The highest level of magic is
sigils and signs.
and put thoughts into people's minds and to hear. It's literally the demon gives you the ability to put thoughts into people's minds. That's essentially what it does.
Right. It's it's likely where they probably have studied to get MK Ultra. So it involves sigils and brain fracturing, mind fracturing, and eventually implanting false memories, wiping out actual memories. But yeah, so I got a hypnotism video, Brian. I think you're gonna really enjoy this one.
If I snap my fingers, you'll forget that you were ever gay.
I was never gay.
Exactly.
Wait, no, stop.
Yes.
No, stop. You can't. I was never gay.
Okay.
No, I was never gay.
Sure.
You can't just state something, then snap your fingers, and then be like, I was never gay.
If you say so.
That was straight magic, real magic.
The highest level of magic right there.
Highest level. Yeah, exactly.
The highest level.
Let me ask you again. I still have to think up. Brian, was that actual hypnotism and magic?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
The highest level.
The highest level, right.
The one thing that I want to comment on that I know that like the demonic realm and witches and warlocks will try to get you to believe is that they can read your thoughts, and the Bible says very clearly otherwise. And I think that once you begin to believe that they can read your thoughts, I think that is also a permission thing. I do believe you can give the demonic realm permission to read your thoughts if you don't understand God's word. But when you understand God's word and you know for a fact that they cannot read your thoughts, they cannot read your thoughts. I believe it's that simple.
There's a lot to that, actually. And dealing with casting out demons, they talk to you in your thoughts. So
they can influence you and they can implant thoughts for sure,
yeah.
but they cannot read your thoughts.
Well, what I would say is they can't read your mind, but they can communicate in your thoughts, is what I would say in some regard. So like what you're thinking, like I've had experiences where I'm like, oh my gosh, there was a demon-possessed guy who was telling me he was going to grab like and my building's full of weapons, and I was praying for this friend of mine, and he was like totally manifested, and the demon was like telling me he's going to like grab the weapons and like kill me. He's like looking for stuff on my table, and I start moving everything away, and I'm thinking in my head, oh gosh, there's like a sword right there, like 5 foot away from this guy. And I'm like thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to like grab one of my swords. I'm about to sword fight this demon possessed guy. But like, I was thinking that, right. That I was and I was just
don't
like,
grab
you know what?
The flamethrower. Please don't grab the
don't
flamethrower.
yeah. And I'm like thinking like, oh man, if he just, oh man, this is not the kind of demon I want to be in an armory with, you know? And so at the same time, though, the demon couldn't see the weapons from within 5 feet away from him. And so, like, when I moved everything away, I was thinking, oh gosh, I hope he doesn't see the sword, like, right there on the shelf next to him. But, like, he couldn't read my thought. This demonic spirit couldn't read my thought in that moment. But they communicate in thoughts. So it's very interesting. It's very different. It's fascinating, the connection there. It's a very
I think I've had similar experiences, not exactly like that, where I was getting ready to have a lightsaber duel with a demonically possessed person, but in a sense where it's like there is a very intense interaction with something demonic. And from my experience, and also just what scripture says, I mean, so we know only God can read our thoughts. Like, that's a fact. So I just want to encourage everybody to know that, stand on that, understand that. But I would say that the demonic realm, as well as tech these days, has gotten really good at anticipating thoughts and anticipating actions and anticipating what you might be into based on patterns and algorithms and understanding past decisions.
And putting thoughts into your head that make you think that it's your own thoughts.
That's exactly correct. They can interject thoughts, but that's at that point in time.
They make you think it's yours, but it's not.
Right. And at that point in time, you really have to have discernment and be able to hear from the Holy Spirit and know what's coming from him and what's not. And that brings me back to the scripture of, whatever is pure, whatever is righteous, whatever is holy, dwell upon these things, think upon these things. It's so important to remember. Anyways.
I think that makes sense, that especially if somebody was possessed and you walked in, it's like, well, if this mentalist or this witch could communicate with demons, well, then maybe the thoughts that it's being able to reveal to the person is coming from the spirit that's within them. So it's not even necessarily their thoughts. It's thoughts that are being put into their brains.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'm going to show you guys a picture of it, actually. Watch this. Check this out. So if you type in magician photos or old magician posters, I'll show you this.
They're all totally demonic.
Yeah. Watch. So like if you type this in and you just go to Google, I'm going to share my screen here. Look at this. Old magician posters. Now, I'm going to explain. There's a guy, his name is Darren Brown, and I talk about this a lot because I was studying it and trying to figure this out. Oh, really? Yeah, look at this. Look at this.
His name's Aaron Brown.
Darren Brown.
Aaron Brown.
Aaron. Okay, so look. Demon on his shoulder, whispering into his ear, right? Demon on the shoulder, whispering into the ear. Demons, right? So demon on the shoulder, whispering into his ear, right? So like we look at these pictures, demon. This is old magician folders, demon. Okay, or magician posters. Look, demon whispering into his ear, literally whispering into his ear, right there. And so it's like, bro, if you just look at this stuff, like all the old magician posters, they're all demons whispering in the person's ear. Like, look, demon whispering into his ear. They're telling you what it is. Like they know what it is. Like, look, it literally demons whispering into his ear, like over and over. Like it's like
there's a pattern forming here.
Yeah, there's a and these are old posters of this kind of stuff. Like, look at this. And so you're like, okay, well, what is going on? Like this
go to the one with like the guy with the weird hat on too.
Again, demon was which one? Oh, this guy.
I think it's interesting, kind of that idea too, is that a lot of times the magician have the top hat, which would be like the Grand Master, the Freemason hat, but then that guy has kind of what it looks like would be some kind of a turban that's probably the way of saying that I'm going to communicate with the jinn, the djinn.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what it is.
That's why he's wearing that Eastern kind of look.
Well, there's an Eastern order of Freemasonry that does this. They also wear the fez now, the little fez hats. So like they were wearing turbans before and stuff. So like if you notice though, the pattern of all the freaking magicians have like demons in their posters, bro. Like I can keep going. And it's all demons like involved, little demons here running around on the elephant, even controlling the elephant. And he's pointing to the elephant and the demon there is pointing to it. It's like, dude.
Well, it's kind of like the old school magicians like leaned into that. It's like that's obviously
what they're saying. It was.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, but I'm saying that that's what they were even projecting to the audience. Well, now they don't do that kind of stuff with like the David Blaine's and the David Copperfields of the world.
Well, they don't want to tell you that's what it is. They try to tell you now that it's mentalism. Now, there's a guy, they're called mentalists.
Well, that's because it's like the idea that even in the Prestige, they kind of want to say that this science is magic, right? The science is the magic. But back before, it was just magic. And so, of course, everybody from that kind of time frame would know, well, magic is of the devil, right?
Well,
so now they're trying to say it's psychology and it's science that causes magic. And if you think about even on Nickelodeon back in my day, they had a show called Mr. Wizard, and he was a little scientist guy, and he was doing, common tricks of science for children.
Well, this is what I'm trying to point out is that like they want us to think that. That's the narrative that they want us to think. They want us to believe that science is all just science, guys, and science and magic is one and the same. But the reality is this: like Darren Brown passes a frisbee to an audience of people, okay, and he passes this ball around to the audience of people. And here's the crazy part: he passes it around, and he writes on the note. He writes words that he thinks the audience is going to say, puts it in an envelope, sets it on the shelf. Okay, and you're staring at the envelope sitting there the whole time. Then he throws the frisbee around and he goes, "Now give me a word." And he writes it on the board. He goes, "Give me another word." And they pass it to someone else, and they pass it to the audience to someone else. "Give me another word." And then he opens the envelope. He writes down what everyone says, and he opens the envelope, and it says exactly what the audience members, the order, the words he said. And you're like, whoa, but here's the crazy part. When he does that act, some of the words aren't 100% exact. And it's like someone in one of the acts in the movie said, like, I forget, they said like something that was like basket, and he wrote carrying, they said carrying case, but he wrote basket. And so it was like something like that. And it was like close, but it was off. And you're like, how is he doing this, bro? He has a demon going around in that little tennis ball or the little bouncy ball that's passing around. The demon's tethered to that object. And when you touch it, that thing speaks into their mind like basketball, 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 basketball. And the demon starts speaking into that person's mind so intensely that when the person's on stage, like, I'm holding the ball. What's the word? They're like, basketball. And they just say the thing that the demon is interjecting into their mind. And then they pass it to the next person. And the demon says the next word. And this is the people that are working with demons. They're telling you what they're doing.
And correct me if I'm wrong, just by being in the audience and participating willingly, you're giving them permission to do that.
Well, that's what I said. I mean,
that
is exactly what they're saying in the movie The Prestige, is that you want to see magic.
You're being tricked.
You've given your consent to be tricked. So therefore,
so I would say the modern day parallel of that is watching TV. If you're watching TV, if you're going to the movie theater, if you're going to, then you're giving us permission to deceive you.
Yep.
If you're watching the news, if you're watching whatever 100%. Public platform through the boob tube, you're giving us permission.
Yep.
To it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing.
I got a perfect video for that. Let's watch some more videos. This is good. This is what it's like to be a friend of a conspiracy theorist at this point.
I'm tired, bro.
That's the chemtrails, bro.
The who?
They poisoning the skies. The fake sky.
Nah, I just ain't get no sleep last night for real.
CERN, bro.
Huh?
CERN. They opening portals and shifting timelines to favor their outcome, but the collective is awakening. We waking up.
What? No, wait, never mind. I'm finna go get something to eat. I'll be right
Don't. I don't eat no more, bro. Soylent Green, brother. Look it up. They putting people in the food. Yeah. There are more fast food establishments than cows. Where are they getting the beef, bro? From people.
The fuck are you talking about, man?
Of course. MK Ultra. Your pineal gland is still closed, bro. Stop watching TV. Get off your phone. They are using it to control you.
Who's they?
The lizard people. They live down in hollow earth. The center of the earth is not a hot, molten core. It's a world below ours, inhabited by the shadow government who actually run the world.
The f is happening, bro? You crazy. Crazy.
Nah. What's crazy is gay people don't actually exist.
I actually believe that.
Yeah. They were created by the CIA to distribute HIV throughout the black communities.
I'm leaving.
Me too. After the Anunnaki come and rids all the evil of this world, I'm returning back to my star in the ocean, or as you call it, space.
Bye.
Bring me back some hot Cheetos!
Pretty accurate, I suppose.
Pretty much wraps it up.
I mean, it's kind of nodding along to a lot of that. I was like, oh, you know, I don't know if he's wrong about everything. I'm saying I agree with everything he said, but I agreed with a lot of it.
You know, I like one of the things that he said on there, and I don't have a video for this or anything like that, but we talk about it often, is, and it just got me thinking, because, you know, like we've talked about these things, but every now and then you have a new epiphany in your brain about it. What better way to get people to not like think or realize that there are civilizations within the earth than to teach everybody in their school books, the school books we now know were provided by, in large part, Epstein and
Maxwell.
his associates.
I got a
Ghislaine
video for that,
Maxwell's
too.
dad
Let me
was
share that.
Robert Maxwell.
But hold on,
and
but
that's
what-
the guy who is the famous guy who put out all of the textbooks.
Right.
But
Yeah.
What better
the
way than
Epstein
can
files gave us more on that. I'll share a video next.
But what better way to get us to not think about what's actually in the earth? Because I think it's a lot more accurate to Admiral Byrd's alleged hidden diaries, or diaries that were found after he died. I think it's a lot more accurate to that than it is the whole magma core. Like, because that's, I
Gosh,
mean, dude,
that's totally
why
fake.
train us to believe that? Like, why train us to believe that? You know, like, because everything that, like, all actual scientific evidence suggests that the whole center of the earth being magma is not the truth.
Well,
So
there's amount of water that they say that's under the earth that is I forgot how many times bigger that scientists now say that the amount of water under the earth is more than all the oceans of the earth combined, like by a lot.
Yeah. Journey
So
to the center
that's
of
what
the
the
earth.
science is saying. But of course, I think that they wanted to parse by saying it's in porous rock. Whatever, that sounds dumb. But you know what's funny about that is I did tease. I was talking about that Tucker was given that interview with Mike Huckabee, and this is something that gets repeated often. Is again about the hollowness of the earth, but people just obviously they just believe the Fed slop narrative about how the Palestinians or Hamas supposedly has. This is what Mike Huckabee said on the podcast, that Hamas has dug 500 miles worth of tunnels.
So ridiculous.
Under Israel.
So ridiculous.
Seriously. So these are the people who look so primitive when it comes to so many things.
With what? Their dirt shovels? Their shovels made out of like
with the spoon,
plastic?
like they did in the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Those tunnels
They're
were
so
already
technologically advanced.
You cannot convince me that those tunnels were not already there. I mean, have they
If
dug
there
more
was,
tunnels
even if
since
there
then?
is tunnels.
What's that?
Even if there is tunnels, maybe they're just lying about the tunnels altogether. But
No,
if there
I think
is,
I
then
I absolutely believe that there's 500 miles worth of tunnels under there. But
Yeah, well, they were definitely
what I'm
already
saying
there.
is there are tunnels under everything.
I agree with
Yeah,
that. They're
true,
everywhere.
true.
There's
Yeah,
tunnels
that's
under.
true.
I mean, if you really think about it, that land, whether you believe it was the real Israel or not, that land is ancient. There's lots of ancient artifacts. There's lots of ancient buildings there. So when we've talked about this, Brian, before, about how
there's a whole Jerusalem
of course,
city
this
is underneath.
This ties into the Lord of the Rings too. So
You know, there's an
often talked
underneath
about,
city of Jerusalem in Jerusalem right now. Like there's a dude that has a
there's-
doorway
everything's
that's underground, and it's the
everything
old
is
city.
underground.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this before about how in the Tolkien mythos, the dwarves live in Mount Moria,
Yeah,
which is only one letter
Moriah.
different than Mount Moriah, which is where the Temple Mount was. And so the mythology goes is the Templars back in the day went under the Temple Mount and discovered all kinds of things under there. So thinking the idea that there's tunnels under there, of course there's tunnels under there. There's always been tunnels. I mean, I guess the truth is, like, how long has there been tunnels?
Moss dug them, JT. Hamas dug them all.
It's like the same thing about like prohibition. It's like, so there's all these tunnels under all these American cities, and it's about prohibition, right? It was like these bootleggers were using them, but it's like they didn't dig the tunnels in order to smuggle booze. They used the tunnels that were there to smuggle the booze.
Yeah. And
the tunnels had to be there first in order to facilitate the smuggling of contraband. Right? Like you don't dig the tunnel. I mean, anybody could dig I mean, like how could you dig the tunnels without everybody being aware of it?
Yeah. Well, tunnels aren't for people. They're not for booze and boxes and products. They're for people. Tunnels are for people. It's for moving people, no matter what. Like that's what tunnels are for.
Well, I mean,
secretly moving people.
Whatever they use them for, the point is the tunnels were already there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the Hollow Earth stuff is legit. Biblically, there's a Hollow Earth, there's Sheol, there's Hades, there's Abraham's bosoms under the earth. Obviously, you have all these mythologies from like the Hindu people about Agartha and Shambhala, places under the earth. Obviously, all these TV shows now we're talking about, Fallout, Paradise. I mean, countless shows talk about these hollow cavities under the earth that eventually are used by humans to ride out an apocalypse.
Yeah.
I think that's
the narrative's all
that's
bullcrap.
a story that has been that's a true story.
Yeah.
Now the way they're showing it now in a modern time, it could be prepping for another supposed apocalypse. But the reason those places exist in the first place is because I do believe that's the biblical idea of them going under the earth, hiding out in caves, in the mountains to ride out the wrath of the Lamb.
Yep. That's where the cavemen come from. We know the narrative is catered. Can I play a video right quick on that?
Yeah,
actually?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to share this video because we know that the narrative that they're telling us, whatever the narrative is nonsense. And we know it's nonsense because our books were written by somebody. And so you guys mentioned a second ago that our books were written by Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, okay, who wrote the books. But get this. This is Ghislaine Maxwell's sister, who is also involved in some interesting stuff. This video, it was revealed through the Epstein, even more details, and it is fascinating. This might have to go in the JT special thing. I don't know, but we'll see.
It might have to be too hot.
Ghislaine Maxwell has 8 siblings. Well, I just learned some wild things about this sibling, Christine Maxwell, from her very own bio on the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Politics, because of course the Maxwell family is involved in shaping global anti-Semitism politics. But anywho, I bet you didn't know that Christine Maxwell has career experience in school book editing. Read it for yourself. Christine Maxwell is a professional lifelong learner with career experiences in grade school teaching and school book editing. What are you doing editing school books, Christine? And oh, we are just getting started. She also has experience as the Director of Research and Marketing for an international educational and scientific publishing company. I kind of went down this rabbit hole the other day about how Stephen Hawking is probably a fake character that was just used as a laughingstock, and I promise this correlates because now that I see that people like Christine Maxwell are the directors of research for scientific publishing companies, I can't say I'm instilled with any new sense of profound hope about our scientific institutions. But continuing on, Christine was an internet entrepreneur for over 30 years in areas of internet search and big data analytics. She was the creator of Magellan, which is kind of a lot like Wikipedia. She's also the co-founder of a software company called Chiliad. And what's going on with Chiliad? Chiliad is the software company that solved 9/11? What? Yep, Chiliad has been working quietly behind the scenes to develop some of the most powerful and innovative software in the U.S. government's anti-terrorism arsenal. Chiliad had been so upset by the 9/11 attacks and the fact that there was no existing technology to connect the dots, and both the FBI and the DNI have seen the unique value that Chiliad offers. Not to mention she earned her PhD in humanities, encompassing multidisciplinary interests in Holocaust literature, which also just so happens to be exactly what her mom was into studying. You know, the wife of the Jewish Robert Maxwell, the guy who basically published all of the textbooks for our school kids here in America and Britain, while the whole family had a hand in directing the research of scientific institutions. So for any of you wondering why I've been questioning the Holocaust lately, it's for more reasons than just because you're not allowed to deny that in any of these red countries. And one more thing, remember how Christine Maxwell was co-founder of Chiliad Publishing? Well, this is the Department of Defense, and they received over $10 million in awards for things like metadata generation and predictive analysis tools.
Surprise, surprise.
I don't know if that was too long or whatever, but you know, I mean, if y'all followed it, that was it's pretty deep revelation that everything was created by Epstein.
Well, I mean, this whole sphere, again, these people are all connected. And then that's why when people say, well, why don't you trust the science? Why don't you trust the history? Why don't you trust this and that? Because of this.
Yeah.
Because of this. This is exactly why we don't trust any of this stuff.
Did you guys see the video of someone spotting Ghislaine on the street?
That was AI. That was.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that was deep fakes. But you know what? I do actually have a video.
You're sure?
Yes. Yes.
I'm not convinced, man.
I could believe it could be. And I could believe that it could even be another person that just happened to look like her.
Because it looked like her brother with her also.
It did look like her brother slightly, yeah.
And that was if that was AI, that was incredibly impressive.
I mean, it's getting better. I mean, that's the thing. It's continuing to get better. But I do have a video that actually is probably perfect for that conversation. I know we didn't hit this last week. It's kind of an oversight. But check this out.
So this isn't the same person. You can tell by the way that it is that these two people are different. And if you can't see it, let me know. If there's someone out there who thinks these are the same person, let me know, and I promise to leave you alone. I just need to know if you exist out there. It's not the same person. And I don't need to go into why, okay? Because it's obvious. And if you look at the BBC where this picture originated from, it's from an interview that's taken yards away. She's sitting at such a far distance. Has an interview ever been conducted from this distance? Ever in the history of time? Like, they're intentionally backing the up. Because they know.
That is a weird distance for an interview.
Doesn't look like her. I mean, that nose is definitely a different nose. I mean, that woman with the glasses on looked Asian. Kind of.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I've not verified this. Of course, I don't know that I'm ever going to try. That out of all the pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell, supposedly she's never really shown with glasses on. Too.
Yeah. It's weird.
So, I mean, it could make sense that
it's like a totally different person.
If it's not the same,
like,
if it's not the same person, is this like the Clark Kent disguise?
It's just like a totally different person with glasses. That they're just
put the glasses on, and people can't tell that it's a different person.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, put the glasses on, and it's her. She just has glasses. That's why she looks different.
I mean, as we said last week, we were talking about. I mean, I'm now starting to lean to the idea that Epstein is still alive. He's not only did he not kill himself, he's not dead.
I never believed that dude was dead, not even for 1 second.
Yeah, I never.
Well, the truth of the matter is, we would never know if he was alive or dead.
You guys saw the last email on his Gmail thing, right?
Which one?
The last email that was put out in the thing. It literally was somebody emailing him saying, "You're dead." And then like, haha, good riddance. And then the email before that was literally somebody saying, I heard you were knocked out in your cell. I hope you're all right. You saw that one?
No, I haven't. You know, I want to say that wasn't there something that came up? Gosh, there was some kind of report. I want to say that it was like hinting at like that he died before the day that he died.
Yeah, I'll show it to you right now. Jmail.world. Watch this. So this is what everybody was kind of alluding to that was like kind of unusual because it was like, wait a second, I thought he got killed in his cell. But you see the last email right here. And this is the last email that was released that was sent to him. It says, "My dearest Jeffrey, I don't know when you'll get to read this. It was so sad to read that you had been found unconscious in your cell. No matter what happens, I will always be loyal to you, and you will always be in my heart. I've been remission for 2 years and just ended a returnship at blank. I'm looking for a permanent job. I'm still in London. Always with love, Cecilia." And her phone number. My dearest Jeffrey, though, he's literally saying, I was sad to read that you had been found unconscious in your cell. Okay, what the heck, Cecilia? What are you talking about? You've been found. He was found unconscious. He was found dead in his cell.
What's the date? What's the date on that?
The date is July 25th, 2019.
What?
Yeah. So
what was
Cecilia,
the day he supposedly died?
Right around that time, I think. So I mean, or right thereafter.
Let me see.
So,
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Let's see. Yeah. When did Jeffrey Epstein die? When was
he died? August 10th, 2019, supposedly.
Okay, so July, August 10th. So 10 days after this, he was supposedly found unconscious in his cell. And they're like, why didn't we know about this? So it's like, that's interesting. Like 15 days later or whatever. So 15 days later. Isn't that fascinating?
Very sus. Okay,
so it's almost like that's what they think. They think he was found supposedly unconscious and then he was taken out. And then, and there's a girl that does morgue, and have you seen the video? Have you seen the photo of Jeffrey Epstein on the ground?
Yeah, we talked about last time. I mean, he had the picture of the still of him being carried out dead. The nose is different.
Well, no. He's not dead. It's just a dude. Like, there's a mortician that goes, look, here's the photo of Jeffrey Epstein, dead, right? Supposedly dead. And she goes, his mouth is shut. She goes, I'm a mortician. She goes, I've been dealing with many dead bodies for many years. No one's mouth stays shut. She goes, when you die, the muscles relax. And you can see that this supposed photo of Jeffrey on the ground is not the photo of a dead man. She goes, his skin is still red. When you die, the red leaves your face and you go pale because the blood stops pumping it into it. She goes, he's got red skin, red face, and his mouth is shut.
And he's got a different nose.
Yeah, well, yeah. And she goes, but whoever this man is not dead. She goes, that's literally, she just says he's not dead. Because otherwise, because when you die, and you can tell because when you die, you're like, relax your muscles on your face. Just relax them right now.
Well, that makes sense, though, that the blood at least would drain out of your face.
Yeah. And the mouth
That's why
opens.
people are
she
pale
says the mouth opens
when they're dead.
Yeah. And so this is a mortician. She's like, this man, the photo of this man is not a photo of a dead man. And that was a mortician's analyzing it. It was pretty accurate.
Different nose on him when he dies, just laying in jail. Totally different.
Totally different person.
It looks totally different completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got kind of very pointy features.
The eyes, too. She's consistently got a droopy left eye. And, like, you look at the eyes and the eyelids, like, that's not something that changes over time.
No, very sus.
You
very
get surgery,
sus.
I guess, but...
Okay, so some of the other big news from the weekend was the United States hockey team won the gold medal, beat those Canucks. So I thought this was really interesting. Something kind of a weird anomaly about the outcome.
I'm about to blow your mind. What the heck is that? What did I just see? This is a clip from the movie Miracle about the 1980 Miracle on Ice team. The last man cut from that team was Jack Hughes? I'm thinking, no, it's from the movie. It can't be real. It's just in the movie. No, it's real. Jack Hughes, born in 1957, drafted by the Colorado Rockies in 1977, and he was the last man cut from the 1980 Miracle on Ice Team USA men's hockey team. Now, you know where I'm going with this, right? And by the way, if you want to stay updated in the sports world, make sure you're following. Now, who do you think scored the game-winning goal for Team USA to win their first gold medal in hockey since the 1980 Miracle on Ice? Jack freaking Hughes. There are some things in life that you simply cannot explain, and this is one of them. Jack Hughes, the last man cut in 1980, scores the game-winning goal to win their first gold medal since 1980. It's also Jack Hughes. And apparently they're not even related, which makes this even crazier, bro. Straight simulation.
That's funny.
They're just playing with us, man, at this point.
I think it's like a prophetic alignment. Maybe this is the way the Lord does things, and he just like puts us in a loop.
Well, the thing is, it's the way that, I mean, for one, let's just put this out there. Jack Hughes is not a totally unusual name.
No, it's not.
Well, Hugh Jack is another
now,
person.
Obviously, Jack Hughes is playing on an Olympic hockey team is kind of unusual. But I do think it's interesting, the movie, though. The way the movie does make a point to cross out his name. And there was another video I saw where there's a scene where they actually go to his locker and you see Jack Hughes, and they peel off Jack Hughes off the locker. Of course, this isn't a movie, right? I mean, so like this guy gets cut. It's like, is it that significant for the movie to point out the last guy to get cut and make a point to like feature his name? And then I want to say that they said it was 46 years to the day that they won the gold medal. The last time was that they won this past weekend.
So let's circle back to the conclusion we came to earlier about movies being the modern day magician theater, and them us giving them consent to screw with our brains and fool us and trick us. And it would make complete sense to me that they had fully anticipated doing this even back then, at some point in time, eventually.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if they're capable of that, but maybe. I feel like that's
capable of that. This is child's play for them, man.
You want another really interesting one? Kind of
give
similar
us
to
another
this
one.
I've got another one, and it's from one of my favorite topics.
I was watching The Lord of the Rings when I realized something crazy. So we know the movies are an adaptation of Tolkien's novels, but wait. Tolkien was an English writer, and he died in 1973. A year like many others, right? Well, check this out.
3 were given to the elves, 7 to the dwarf lords, 9 rings were gifted to the race of men, 1 ring to rule them all.
The year Tolkien died matches the reverse order of the rings. That's crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
Pretty prophetic.
That's pretty weird.
That is pretty crazy. We've often talked about before how conspiracy theorists can go too far, right? Like, because some of your own people end up turning on you.
But yes.
Yeah, some of your own people end up turning on you, and it's like the very people that you taught some of these conspiracies to now think you're the conspiracy, and it's like, you guys, it can get a little too crazy. I don't know if you guys have heard about this one, but this is kind of nuts.
This isn't going to be JT's really Isaac Cappy, is it? Because
no. This is going to be the one where they turn on Cliff, the one where they're turning on Cliff now.
Anytime one of these videos comes on my feed, I'm like, how does this have like 100,000 likes? Like, people do not have any discernment.
Now, if I got on here with snake eyes, like slits for pupils, and my teeth visibly shifting, I feel that everybody would notice. But because it's these guys...
Okay, she might be right.
Okay, so hold on. So there's that one, but like to give to give it some context.
Okay, some wild things have been happening in the Christian online space that we have here. This is Kayla. I don't want to talk about this, but look. So Stuart makes a video talking about how people should be aligned in Christ. It gives a beautiful message, beautiful advice. He's recording this in his car, and behind him there seems to be some unusual activity. From what I see, it's a person moving. Take a look.
And you'll be blessed for it.
Let's do it again. I'm going to point out for anybody who missed it. There is somebody or something controlling him behind him.
But Kayla goes on to make outlandish claims and says this guy is a shapeshifter.
These guys are shapeshifters.
He's being controlled by someone behind him. I mean, Kayla, could it possibly be a child in the backseat playing with a tablet? Could it be someone he was driving and they were hiding in the corner because they didn't want to be in the video? No, but the first thing you say is this guy's a shapeshifter. But it gets even worse. She goes on to say that because they have fang teeth, that they're reptilians.
I got on here with snake eyes, like slits for pupils, and my teeth visibly shifting. I feel that everybody would notice, but because it's these guys, they have a level of trust from most Christians that, like, honestly, doesn't even make sense.
Bro, I have worse fang teeth. Does that mean I'm a reptilian too, Kayla? It gets worse. She says that because of discernment, she's able to tell these things.
The masses do not have an ounce of discernment.
Kayla, these are people on the same side as you. I mean, Kayla, you commented on one of my videos before saying that you don't support me because I believe in apostolic succession. No grudges, but these people are on the same side as you. Stuart and his son are on the same side as you. Can we please just focus on Christ and not attack each other? There are way more important things that we have to focus on as Christians in society right now. I wasn't gonna make this video, but someone has to check this.
Have at it, boys.
She's not great. She's not great at what she does. That's one of those things that really bothers me, is that when people take low quality footage and then they try to read into all the anomalies in the video when it's glitching and it's not actually 4K at 60 frames per second and completely smooth and real. And sometimes even when that happens, they're saying, oh, well, now it's AI. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's kind of like this guy's talking about Jesus. He's talking about a message of unity. And then you're calling him a shape-shifting reptilian.
Well, there was people in the comments. There were people in the comments that...
Well, you're so good, slay girl.
There's always those. But no, there were people in the comments of that video. Maybe Brian can comment on this. But there were people in the comments of that video accusing her of being a straight up witch, like an actual witch. And one of them pointed out the fact that she's constantly affirming the 369 method, and the fact that she really does a lot of things with like those symmetrical numbers, which are used in witchcraft, like extremely. I mean, you know,
Tesla was famously like the 369 thing. Like
allegedly, it was
drove him
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so
like he couldn't do, like what was it? It wasn't in the story goes that Tesla could not do anything unless it involved 369.
That goes back to the spiral pattern that
Fibonacci
Brian
pattern
was talking about earlier. The Fibonacci, not just the Fibonacci, but like the actual spiral patterns that are used in witchcraft. But one of the people even said in the comments, and listen, these are not my firsthand experiences. I'm just telling you what I saw in the comments. One of the people in the comments even said they were like afraid to comment, and they said that one time they spoke out against her in her own comments, and they were like deathly sick for like 5 weeks after that. So I'm just saying there's a lot of really weird stuff going on. Brian, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So she blocked me. So we ain't friends.
I actually blocked her because she was.
You blocked her also.
She was getting so weird, saying something to me.
I don't usually block people. Like, I mean, like I'm usually pretty chill about whatever. You want to talk trash to me? Go for it. Talk trash. I don't care.
Well, I've heard this, and again, this might be secondhand, and maybe I shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to anyways. Is that some people have had online spats with her, and then their accounts end up being banned afterwards. So I was like, I don't want any kind of back and forth with her. I just said blocked her on all my accounts. I don't want any kind of static.
Well, I commented on one of her videos about like one of her things that was a little bit off, and I comment in love, and I'm very kind. I was like, well, what about this, this, and this? And it got her, obviously made her look kind of dumb, I think, because I like pointed out that she was wrong. And so then I said, and then I wrote her, and then she talked to me in messages, just very little, just like 1 or 2 messages or something. And I was like, yo, hey, like what you're saying is like kind of like whatever. And then she decided to attack people that believe in the little season and made a video and called anybody that believes in the little season devil supporting satanic demonic.
Yeah.
And then she blocked me. So
well, I
don't know.
I had my own, like, we never interacted, but I wrote in the comment section on a few of her videos where she was taking like this like ghetto $50 frequency plate and playing music and trying to say like these songs were harmful and these songs weren't harmful. And she even went as far as to say is like 432 hertz is actually like a harmful frequency. And she tried to like demonstrate that on her, but she was using like a $50 eBay sand plate that's like lopsided with like a ghetto speaker in it. Like it wasn't a true test. It's not a true test. It wasn't even giving, and you can even see in her own videos, like the patterns that it makes are not symmetrical because it's leaning off to one side and it's not. And it's like, dude, if you're gonna take frequencies and you're gonna do a test with them, have the proper equipment. You'll know that it's the proper equipment when you see perfectly symmetrical shapes on these things, whether they're bad frequencies or good frequencies. So it's like these conclusions were being given to people. They were not true. They weren't accurate. They weren't proper tests that were being done. And I'm like, dude, that's harmful. That's really harmful to be telling people that you shouldn't be doing. Like, it was very strange to me. So I blocked her shortly after that.
Yeah, so here's what I would say. Like, I think the reality is this. Like, she is guided by pride. Like, so much pride that when you allow pride to be like the governing factor of everything that you do, which everybody freaks out when I talk about pride because they think I'm prideful. It's fine. I don't give a crap because
No.
like, and
All
it's
of
totally
us
fine.
deal with pride to a certain extent, and we will until the day we die. That's a fact.
Yeah, so regardless, she's so consumed with pride that she won't even have a conversation about something that she opposes, and she just immediately goes, "You're wrong. You're the devil if you oppose my view." Blah blah blah. That's pride talking, and it's like, dude, I'll have a conversation with anybody. I don't care what you say. I don't care what your thing is. I'll talk to you. I talk to crazy people. I talk to people with schizophrenia all day. Like, bro, come on. Like, you think that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to walk in love, to hear out and understand people and have. That's how you come to understandings, is talking to people. K-Podgy don't do that. She don't talk to nobody. She's got her own opinion. That's it. She thinks it's fact, and that's the way it goes for her. And then, the demons or whatever involved are influencing her to put out content to guide people in a narrative because the Lord stepped into her life and got a hold of her, and that's awesome. And God started showing her stuff, and then the pride demons come in and they start pulling you away just a little by little, and they just start pulling you in, and then pretty soon, I mean, that's what happens to all the celebrities. They like Justin Bieber started out innocent, bro. It was very obvious he was innocent. Got put in there into that position as an innocent little child, and then all of a sudden you started to see the corruption come in, and then it was like, oh, and then he's like, I feel violated, and he was like, and then all of a sudden he starts giving into the corruption, starts hanging out with all these people, starts participating in the things, right? So it's like, in the same sense, it always starts out like innocent in some regard, and then it just gets you pulled in by the little demon strings pulling people in. So yeah, she's involved, in influencing or listening to the devil at this point, because she's putting out propaganda and stuff that's totally like antithetical to the truth, and she's not actually doing research, but people believe she's doing research because she started out kind of doing like talking about research stuff. So it's a trustworthy source to other people at the beginning, and then they started to see the flaws, but there's people that don't see the flaws, and those are the ones that are getting trapped. So yeah, I mean, it's basically demonic stuff influencing these people. That's what I think.
I agree
There's
with that
demons.
for the most part. I think that, especially when you're talking about like the spirit of pride and just being a regular content creator, when lots of us started on TikTok and we started making videos, we started revealing some videos that probably blew people's minds. Now, you can't do that all the time. I've always talked about that, and that's probably why I don't make as many reels as I used to, because, I mean, I want to post a video that everybody's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I never knew that before. That connection is amazing. All those things. The truth is, my research is limited. I can't do that every day. I can't do that every week. I can't do that every month anymore, because eventually you kind of run out of things to blow people's minds with.
And
now,
also, really
when you
quick,
see a content creator who on the regular posts, if not a video every day, they post 3 to 4 times a week, and every time, oh gosh, guys, guess what I learned? Come on, like, you know what I mean? Just consider the probability that this person is researching on their own and coming up with stuff that you've never heard, and it's the craziest connection you ever heard all the time for years. Now, I think a lot of people who do that, this is where the demons probably are involved, because you start playing fast and loose with the facts. And so again, I guess it's so funny how like God did that when I did the video about snake eyes, as we were talking about Shepherd of the King. And I was saying, if you make a video and you find out later that you posted some false information, you have to take it down. So I mean, like, that's the kind of thing where, like, I've had 3/4 of an amazing video, and at one point along my research, I was like, I found something out that kind of debunked what I was going to say, and the connection was not so strong anymore. And I said, well, that video right in the trash pile. Can't post it. It's no good. Now, a lot of things that are lies by omission, because that's what the mainstream news does often. It's not that they straight up lie to you, even though they do sometimes. It's that they frame a story by only talking about the facts that support their opinion or their direction they want you to go. And I think that's very often with content creators. Like I said, if you see somebody post something that blows your mind 5 times a week, I'm sorry, like, like most of that is either probably copied from somebody else and it's not attributed to them, or it's most of it's BS. And I think that if you see those content creators, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Totally. And the reality of it is, it's our flesh that wants to post a mind-blowing video every single day or every single time. It's totally our flesh. Like, that's not the way Jesus worked, and that's not the way he wants us to work. He wants us to deliver, like, we're his hands and feet. So he wants us to deliver the truth in the way that he shows us how to deliver that truth. And here's the bottom line. Sometimes it's going to be mind-blowing. Sometimes it's going to blow people's minds. And that's because it's a combination of information, but also like it's being delivered uniquely by you. Like both of you guys have a very unique way of delivering information. I do too. But we're similar in the sense that like we're all very passionate about the information that we want to deliver. Like we're not talking about it because we just think people are going to enjoy it or get views. Like we're talking about it because we're kind of jacked up about it. Like we're kind of like, we're excited to talk about it because it was maybe mind blowing to us. And I think that, you know, that's one of those things where it's so, and I was actually just talking to somebody on a coaching call yesterday for the Echoes of Truth coaching. We were talking about content, and that's a kind of the battle is like, when you're talking head or you're in the public space and you're talking about stuff, you have to be constantly checking yourself, and you have to be constantly submitting yourself to the Holy Spirit and being like, okay, like, am I doing this for me? Right? Like you talking about the truth being almost all the way there, and then you had to throw it out. That was conviction. That was the Holy Spirit saying, hey, like, are you really willing to risk your entire testimony and your entire, like all of your integrity of what you stand for being JT follows JC? Like, are you following me on this one, buddy? Right? Like that kind of thing. You have to be in that place. And I feel like there are way too many people out there that have chased the algorithm. They've chased the RPM. They've chased that money coming in, and they're so addicted to that money coming in and keeping the status. And also, I think it goes way beyond that. I think that it becomes a demonic thing of the flesh because
they're selling their soul when they do that.
They literally are selling a chunk of their soul because it does become about the money, but it also becomes about the fact that like they didn't get as many likes yesterday as they did the day before.
It's a dopamine thing for sure too.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's if you're on social media and you're posting videos and you're not really getting that reward of a viral video, well then, and you know you're not going to, then I mean you're more likely to do it for the right reasons because it's really only about the message. But that's why I said I even could have a video that I do believe is a godly video, and I believe that the message is 100% true in it. If it gets 1 million views, it's hard to not feel rewarded in my flesh. And so and I have to like decide like, where do you want the reward? If like you have a message that you want to get out there, you know, if you're getting rewarded here, you're not going to get the reward in heaven.
Period.
So there is that kind of battle of like, I mean,
Matthew chapter 6, right?
We would not still be human if we could completely like just disassociate because it's fun. It's fun to have a video that everybody's talking about and to be saying, hey, that was a great video and all the backslaps and stuff like that. But yeah, like if you start to do it for that reason alone or the money or the fame, then obviously you're not doing it for the kingdom. You're doing it for yourself.
Yeah, you just got to remember it's not about you. It literally isn't about you. And it's so hard, right? Because like no matter where we get, no matter what status we get to, no matter, like, it doesn't matter. Like, even if we absolutely love Jesus and we're following him every step of the way, like when you do this kind of stuff, when we do this, when you're in the public eye, even just a little bit, it's so easy to start thinking you're somebody. It's so easy to start thinking that.
And you could definitely tell the content creators who really think that they're somebody.
Yeah, it's so easy.
And they
to start
speak with
like,
such certainty. And yeah, they get upset with people when people disagree with them. And yeah, that is obviously, that's the flesh, that's the pride coming out.
Don't you know who I am? Like,
right. Well, exactly. It's kind of like, look how many followers I have. Look how many viral videos I have. It's because I'm so gifted. I'm so special. And the truth is, you go right to the Bible, you think about Paul talking about that we have this treasure in these jars of clay to know that the surpassing power comes from God and not from us. So the fact that we are weak, that's when God's power is evident in us. And it's not about that you're so able and you're so this. And I think that's obviously a biblical example of like that God doesn't always choose the person you'd expect them to choose, the best looking, the strongest, the tallest, the this.
I'm proof of that.
He picks the people that when a miracle shows up, it's everybody knows it came from God and not from that person, and that's why God chose, the 12 apostles that he chose, not because they were the most capable, but because when the Holy Spirit transforms them, everybody knows that it's God's power and not ours. I want to play another video.
Aaron spoke for Moses, right? Because Moses had a stutter; he couldn't even speak. I have Tourette syndrome, and I do a podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
I make little noises all the time. People are always like, "What's wrong with that guy?"
He's gonna use who he uses, man. That's it.
Whatever.
And the thing is, if you're not obedient and you're not willing to be his hands and feet, or if we get to a point where we think we're too much, he will literally cut you down to size, and he'll use someone else. It's just the way it works.
Amen. Most of the time, like I said, he has to break. A lot of us, he has to break us down and humble us first before he can allow us to get to a higher place. And I think
I want to be clear. That's how I know this, because that's happened to me many
exactly.
times.
That's absolutely happened to me.
Yeah,
so I got this really interesting video. This is an old world building that supposedly just got finished this week. You guys heard about this?
After nearly 144 years of construction, the world's tallest church has finally reached its maximum height. Barcelona's Sagrada Familia has been under construction for so long that locals have become used to seeing scaffolding and cranes alongside it. But on Friday, the last piece was finally put in place. A 17-meter tall, four-sided steel and glass cross was craned to the top of the Tower of Jesus Christ, reaching a staggering height of 172.5 meters, making it not only the tallest church in the entire world, but also the city's tallest building. The expectation now is that the scaffolding will finally be removed before the church's official inauguration, which is something that many people in the city have never seen before.
Okay.
That is so dope.
I want to go back to something though. Look at the picture of it in 1886, which I guess this is the year they started building it. Did they build
90% done? It's like 95% done.
Did they build that much?
Almost the same.
Did they build that much the very first year? And there's another picture he showed later here. Where's the other one? What is that? Where's the scaffolding there? Where is the scaffolding, guys?
It looks like there's some kind of structural but it looks almost like a collapsed building.
Dude, that building right there.
That looks like a dilapidated, torn down building that they rebuilt.
Yeah, that building, like a destroyed building.
That building was found. And it was fixed. So yeah, like when you see what they're doing, and of course, even just looking at the video of them completing that thing, look at that giant crane that they're using to put the things on the top. And you think about before, right? You see all these super tall cathedrals before. How did they get this stuff on the top of them when they're built, sometimes in the 1400s or even earlier? I think that's telling. It's telling. And I think that's probably what happened with a lot of the old world buildings, is that they found them based on how well they were still put together. They restored them and then slapped a date on them, said, we started restoring this building here to here, and that's the date of the construction.
Yeah.
But when you see that, like when you see those early pictures, it doesn't really look like much is happening there. Would you think there would have been a lot of stuff there? You think that the way we're told how they did old buildings back in the day was about the mass of people to do it, like they say about the pyramids. Like they must have had tons of slaves doing it. So you have a site that's almost bare, right? There's like nothing. Where's the block? Where's all the things that they're going to be having to be put up? And it looks like it's someplace that's like there's lots of mud.
Yeah, it does look weird.
Dude,
and it's like in the middle of nowhere.
I had one of our Echoes of Truth coaching members shared a theory with me yesterday, and I'm having to really bite my teeth to not share it right now, because I told him if he doesn't post a video of it in the next 2 weeks, that one of us is going to do it. But it's on this topic, and it's on his theory of what might have happened, like why some of these buildings got built, how they got built, and it had to do with frequency. And it was a pattern of thinking that I have never I've never thought about. So if he posts that video between now and the next mixtape, I'll share the video of him talking about it because it's fascinating. It's an angle that no one's talked about yet, and it has to do with the Little Season also.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm definitely interested to hear that theory. But so just think about this though, that church, of course, it is the tallest. And so what did he say? It was 175 meters, which is basically like what? There's 3 feet per meter. So the thing is, do the math on that. What is that like? Is that almost 600 feet? No, it's like 550 feet ish, something like that tall. Very tall.
Huge.
Very tall. But so all through, it's late 19th century, all through the 20th century, into the 21st century, where we have all the advanced equipment, we have the cranes, we have excavating equipment, we have power tools, we have all the things. And it still took 144 years to build that building.
From what it was, and all we did was add this much to it.
Well, no, I mean, you clearly tell they built around it, but I mean, the point is that
they made
I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of these people who say that man could not have built some of the buildings that we see. I mean, some of them, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to say, but the truth is,
there's definitely a lost technology, though.
I believe that we have the ability. We have craftsmen that are excellent, and with enough time, men could replicate some of the greatest old world buildings. But the truth is,
did it in a week.
The truth is, it took them 144 years to do it. So not even in one lifetime could they do this building. And then so back in the day, they built many buildings at the same time. They're building all the same things. So man could do it. But the point is, I think this just points out the fact that when you see buildings like this that were supposedly built hundreds of, if not like 1,000 years before this, in the same kind of grandeur, like how did they do it though? You know what I'm saying? If it took us 144 years to do it, so I want to say, was it in?
How long were they working on it for too? I mean, weird.
Well, they're saying it was 144 years it took. But I mean, the funniest part about that picture, the thing is they show it almost
144 years from us to build it.
That's what I'm saying.
But,
so like,
how long did it take them to build from them to get to where they were at?
Well, you think about all of the advancements in technology over the last 144 years. So you'd have thought that they would have started speeding up because they would have had all the means to do it faster.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like they built a large majority of it and then already like fast. And then we added to it for
that's what I'm saying.
Years.
They found it. Well, yeah, of course, when I shared this picture again, this is the thing that obviously cracks most people up who look into the old world stuff. What is happening there? Just
it looks so staged, dude.
Random dude just standing around in suits and bowler hats. There's one guy.
But remember,
what is he doing?
Remember what Brian said about the hats and the like. I mean, these guys are obviously a part of upper echelon.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they there? Right?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Like,
all those old pictures. All those old pictures. It looks all so oddly staged, the way people are standing around. If not, these people likely use some kind of old school Photoshop where they just put a person in the picture.
Yeah, true.
Just to make them look like there's something happening.
Did you also notice on the new pictures that you showed of that building, it doesn't look, you can tell like it's not, I mean, we already know this because it took them so long to finish building it. They didn't use stone. It's not 100% stone like all of the old buildings were.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had to use a bunch of different modern components. And so like it doesn't even look as, I mean, it's symmetrically, it's beautiful, but it doesn't look as, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't look as magnificent as the actual old buildings. So think about that. Like, why wouldn't it look, shouldn't it look more magnificent than the old buildings since we're in 2026 and we're supposed to be more technologically advanced than we've ever been?
You would think.
It doesn't to me. I don't get the same, not that everything should be based on feeling, but I don't get the same feeling of magnificence when I look at that completed picture of how it looks right now as I do looking at some of those old cathedrals that we've had for 200 plus years.
You know, I got an interesting video. This is supposedly a more modern building, but I think this is one of those ones where it's like the 1 year timeline. 1 year. Check out this video. This is wild.
Take a look at the Bryant Park Hotel, originally built for the American Radiator Building, supposedly built in just 1 year. 1923 to 1924, they built this for the American Radiator Company as a showroom for their radiators, 338 feet high. And then go ahead and take a look on the outside sculptures that they decided would be perfect to showcase radiators. And they appear to be, that's a dragon, they appear to be women and a few men warriors, but looks like goddesses. And they're in very distinct positions. That lady was like, meow. And these people like, what is she up to over there? And this guy's like, I am not sure what's going on. He's in the corner. And then so I went inside. I went down these cascading, wow, unbelievable. He took me to another world. And then these are the outside of the Radiator Company. Who are these people and what message did they leave behind for us to find?
JT, that's totally normal. That's like every radiator company has like naked women with grabbing their breasts and then like square and compass stuff. Like that's normal, JT. It's radiators.
1 year. 1 year. Are you kidding me? I had to look that up too. I had to like verify that it was actually 1 year build.
Yep.
1 year. They built that building.
And they dug that all out too and everything. It's magnificent for a radiator. I mean, it's a radiator company.
I was kind of curious
Makes
the way that
sense.
when she was showing that view of walking down. Don't tell me that when you walk in, you go down into the earth.
Right? You know, those images of the people on the outside, those didn't look old to me. Those looked relatively modern.
Well, they could have been. Well, you know, again, you think about it.
Yeah, radiators are modern. It was for a radiator company.
Well,
Aaron,
if you,
duh.
well, if you think about it, that again, like a lot of things we believe about the old world is that they found something,
and added to
wasn't. It was not pristine, and then they renovated it. So they might have added some of the detail.
Renovated.
But if you look at the top of that building, man, that thing is insane with the black and the gold. That
Can you
is
go back to it? I want to see it again.
opulent looking building. Let me see. Just look at some pictures of it. This building is so cool. It
Yeah,
seems a
dude.
little bit excessive for a radiator company.
Nah,
That's
what are you talking
absolutely
about?
beautiful, dude.
Every radiator company is for sure. That's that's standard for radiator companies, guys.
Yep, it says radiator on the door. So, I mean, who might
Yep,
have denied
yep.
that that's what it was built for?
Well, do you know what radiators originally were?
Look at that.
They were the fireplaces. You
Oh,
ever
yeah,
saw the
mhm.
poles?
Yeah, Radium.
Radium. They put out Radium. So, I mean, if it's a radiator company, like they were maybe the company that was putting out the radium heaters that was radium, that was a power source that produced heat naturally.
Yeah, there's some. I bet
They weren't fireplaces. They were
I bet
radiators.
if you did a deep dive on that building, you'd find out some very interesting
Uh-huh.
stuff. Especially if you were like local and you could go to like the library and get some historical records on it.
I mean, so look, even if you go onto Wiki right here, it says construction started in 1923, completed in 1924, renovated in 1936.
And then again from 98 to 2001.
So that renovation lasted 60 years. But when it was brand new, within 12 years, they had to renovate it. I'd say that's a little suspicious.
It's a little sus.
Isn't that like, wouldn't that building be in pretty good shape in only 12 years? What were they doing with the radiators in there?
Well, bro, look at this. Have you seen the old photo? I'm going to show you guys this.
Yeah,
Look
the
at
old
this.
radium thing is that's a
total rabbit hole.
fascinating. Yeah, it is.
But like, check this out. So if you look at this, like old radiators. Like these are old that we claim were fireplaces. They all have these 2 radium antennas and in these spots that we think are fireplaces, but they're
They never had
oftentimes
fire
like
in them.
blacked up and there's no fire, there's no soot. It was some kind of thing, and the chimney was maybe a way of drawing fire. Oh, look, here's our friend, the bully slayer, even talks about it. The old fireplaces are radium radiators.
Yeah, a
And
lot
they
of them
would,
believe they
like-
had like rods in them.
Yeah,
Like,
radium rods. Like that's what these 2 pillars are here. And so people were like, what is this? Like they're not fireplaces. There's something different. And they're like very elaborate and they look like that building kind of in a way. They're just very decorative. So, I mean, maybe there is something to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just went
because a
ahead and
lot of
downloaded a video about that, so maybe we can.
because a lot of the fireplaces back in the day, they weren't deep enough for fire, and they didn't even have the ventilation for like modern day fire. It was totally different.
Something different. It's a rabbit hole we don't know about.
Yeah, let's watch a video about that.
The radium fireplaces. These fireplaces weren't being lit up with fire and wood because that would bring all the smoke into your house. And they showed Thomas Edison sitting in front of a radium fireplace, sitting there with his feet in front of radium. So if radium was as toxic as we were told to, why would someone have it in their house and in their fireplace of all places? The periodic table of radium is 88. And if you think of 88, that's infinite. You know, it's 2 8s going back and forth. That's an infinite number. Even Henry T. Murray was talking about radium. And he was saying about how it's a radioactive decaying substance. And he said all of nature is a radioactive decaying substance. Then I started looking at the radium springs and all the springs that people sit in. You go all over the country, there's radium hot springs that people sit in. And the Rockefellers and Rothschilds used to sit in these. And I'm like, okay, if it's toxic, you wouldn't sit in a spring with it. And then when people go to buy a house, they ask them if they have radon gas. And I'm like, that's interesting. Why are you asking about this? I started going down all these rabbit holes, and then it led me to Galen Windsor and him eating plutonium and him showing how he's taking plutonium, putting it in a jar and eating it. And he said, the reason we've been told that lie is because that is the key to the free energy or the unlimited energy. And if people understood that all this stuff was harmless, then they wouldn't be able to scare people into, fallouts and all these things that are happening.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense than anything we've been told. Like that resonates for sure.
Well, I mean, I got a video removed, or like it was like stopped or something. I forget. The only other video I got removed was about Catholicism, but this video also I think got stopped because and it got reissued. It got it put back on, but I was talking about radio frequencies and I was talking about this, and the video is literally, I'm just discussing like everything is radio. When something's radioactive, it's producing frequency. That's what radioactive means. And so all like fruit is subtly radioactive. Like you could put it, if you have a Geiger counter, you can pick up the radio frequencies off of certain things. They produce stuff. So radium or certain minerals, if you put a radio next to radium, it'll get like a reaction. It'll start hearing like this sort of noise like coming through radioactive devices. It puts out a natural frequency that affects things that is invisible. And there's certain things that are more radioactive than others, putting out more frequency than other things. And there's natural frequencies putting out natural radioactive waves. So radium essentially is a device that's putting out a consistent its status, its stagnant thing is radio producing. So it produces a radio wave, which is essentially some kind of thing that we can grab off of and then convert into some form of power is essentially the idea behind it.
Well, because everything has a frequency, so it makes sense that gives it the frequency to for lack of better words, broadcast.
No, it is broadcast.
Audible level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like the idea of like a microwave, like that? Is that it's using some kind of a frequency waves that what is it? It has something to do with where it messes with the water molecules and things
so
to
everything
heat.
Is a radio. Everything is a radio wave. Everything. It's all waves. And this is what Nikola Tesla is talking about. So like your Bluetooth is putting out microwaves that is sending a signal that's able to be picked up on another device, okay? Phone frequencies, a little bit bigger, like this. They're not as micro, okay? And then there's like above phone, there's like television frequencies are like this, okay? And you can put out television waves, okay? And then above that is radio waves, and they're like this. They're like really big waves, okay? But the smaller you get in the waves, you get into microwaves, and they're very similar to Bluetooth. This is why Bluetooth is bad and it's causing people like cancers, because it's putting out microwaves, and those microwaves, the tinier and tighter they are, the more solid they become, and the less things they pass through. That's why Bluetooth doesn't go through walls as easily as a radio wave can go pass through walls, because of the bigger wave, it can guide through stuff. But when it's micro, it hits things more readily. So microwaves actually move like this, so tiny that they hit water molecules, and they can affect the polarity of the water molecules. So they go like this, beep, 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 and they heat up. And so water gets heated up because the waves, the microwaves, are going. In the same way, when you put a Bluetooth in your ear, it's passing your cells in your body, and it's similar to a microwave. It's very tiny, tight waves.
That's why it literally melts your earwax when you wear them too long.
Yeah, it absolutely could, and it's affecting the cells in your ear. My cousin actually got some kind of cancer from wearing Bluetooth, and they had to hollow out one of his ears. Because he wore Bluetooth all the time, and it was the ear that he had the Bluetooth in. It started to back and forth. It was cooking his radio waves were going like this, up and down to his cells, causing them to cook and react, and broke the telomeres and caused some kind of like growth cancerous thing. And so like all the stuff that we deal with today is all radio waves. Everything that's putting out a signal, if it's not infrared, it's radio waves, and everything is radioactive, everything. And so it's all, to what degree is it radioactive? Okay, right? So, and if you do, there's all kinds of therapies that are radio based or whatever. And so like these kind of things are all frequencies. Everything's a frequency though. From your cell phone tower, from your television, from anything wireless, from your phone, all the way to your microwave, which are micro radio waves. That's it. That's all it is.
So all I know is I'm trying to eat some plutonium for dinner tonight.
Well, so do you think that, is that how maybe those fireplaces worked, is that it emitted these waves that somehow heated the person?
Well, that could totally be a way.
You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it didn't heat the whole house. It's almost like a microwave where it's heating you.
That's fascinating. That could have been what it was.
So hold on. So the people ate the plutonium, which gave them the waves, which is why that guy talked about eating it. Or I'm sorry, yeah, they ate the plutonium. And then they had the radium bars or whatever in there that operated at a certain frequency, and so only they heated up.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder if that's how it
interesting. Yeah, I wonder.
That's like so beyond anything we would have ever assumed. That like,
yeah, like so the house would stay cold, but you're not actually cold in the house.
Yeah,
right.
Because
you know what, dude,
anything that had water would actually get heated up, because so if that was the way it was designed, it would be putting out these radio waves that are just heating any organic material in the house, but the house wouldn't heat up. But the people
I kind of just got the chills just thinking about that, because I was like, this makes so much sense.
That does make sense.
Like, well, think about what people often point out about these old castles. They have no fireplaces or anything in them.
Interesting.
Like, well, I mean, it's like a lot of these old buildings. The reason why some of them are demolished, I think sometimes they're hiding evidence of these crazy structures. But for the most part, they have to retrofit them with HVAC systems to heat them and cool them. But if you really think about it, they're very impractical as far as like trying to heat places. Because you have these massive lobbies, super high ceilings and everything. You think about it.
And they're so dangerous, dude, to have fire in?
Well, I'm just saying, like, all these old buildings, they have the highest ceilings. They have big open areas. It would be It would be very hard to heat them.
Yep, unless they're just subtly microwaving.
But right,
everyone.
but like, and so, and if you go like to like the medieval castle style, well, you'll see like how the peasant class lived. They had houses that were usually built around a heating source, like a fire source, some kind of a stove or a chimney, right? And then, but then you think like the royal class, the dukes and the earls and all these people, they lived in castles they could not heat. I think that maybe this is what they were using, because it would make sense, because regardless, even if you put a fireplace in a castle that's as big as they are, it would stay cold. You know what I mean? You couldn't heat that thing right. But maybe you could heat the people.
But I feel like the key was like that when I saw that guy eating the plutonium, I was just like, wait, what? I feel like that's the activator. I feel like that's what, like, so instead of maybe those rods or whatever they had in there heating up all organic matter, because think of it, that would have been counterproductive to any produce that they kept in their house or any other food or any organic matter they kept in the house. But what if it was activated only by the people that had ingested plutonium?
That's a possibility, but it wouldn't make a difference. I mean, it wouldn't make a difference, though.
Well, isn't how supposedly how like nuclear energy works is it's heating up like water in these rods, right? Isn't that how that technology is supposed to work?
Yeah. I'm not even going to pretend to know, man. I have no idea.
There's rods. It's something like that. There's
but
rods,
it has something to do with heating water too, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like a steam. There's like a steam aspect to it or something too.
So what if this is like the nuclear power?
They just took it away from us and hid it, and now it's like they're telling us it's nuclear power, but really all it is was just stuff that everybody knew back in the day.
Right. Well, but it was used on a smaller scale, and it was a household thing, and that that actually makes a lot of sense because I know a lot of people have wondered this is when they were talking about looking for more clean energy resources, and they're saying, nuclear power is way cleaner than a coal plant.
It's way better.
And then, so why is it so hard for them to try to get one built anywhere?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it is.
And they obviously try to always show you Chernobyl, right?
They always try to talk.
They always want to scare people about it. They always want to scare people about those places.
The truth is, they just wanted to meter everything, and so that's why they started charging everybody for oil, for gas, for all of the little things. Water. They meter your water,
took the radium
now, the gas into your house. Yeah, because they started to realize
too powerful and too free.
If these people realize the power that they've got with this, they can use this to power everything they have, to do everything they need to do with it. But if we take it away, we can charge them for their gas. We can charge them for their electric. We can charge them for their water.
Them stuck on fossil fuel systems.
All of the things, dude. All of the things.
Yeah. That makes
perfect sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it also makes sense with the timeline. That building was built when?
The
1920.
Yeah, 1923 to 24.
So, and it got renovated
in 1936.
So I'd be interested to see what was going on in the world with oil around 1936.
Yeah, it's like your guys' video game you've been playing, right?
Yeah, Fallout.
Kind of, yeah. But yeah, I'd be very interested to see what was going on in the world right around that time frame. I'm guessing
what's going on. You know what's going on during the world right now.
The Great Depression.
The Great Depression
was during that time.
So it was right in the middle of the Great Depression. They just said, "Hey, I know what we need to do. We should just renovate this building we just built."
Dude,
most elaborate building.
And they shifted from radium to radiators,
fossil fuels.
Crazy, dude.
Maybe the renovation.
I don't think anyone's ever talked about this.
What if the renovation had something to do with getting rid of all the energy sources for the radium for this building?
Probably.
No, totally. That's
did.
I'm sure that's what it was.
Remove all that stuff. Nobody can know about this now.
Time to shift gears and become a radiator company.
Emulsion, like Gears of War. Well, I mean, of course, like I said, that movie Fallout, or the show Fallout, we talk about that one of the really key elements of the show is that there was this pre-war relic was cold fusion. It was free energy. So what if radium is the cold fusion?
It's it. Could be it. We might have just discovered it, on JT's podcast. On JT's mixtape, we just discovered
for real.
it.
Maybe. I mean, the truth is, like, maybe what if they called it cold fusion because the things around the stuff was cold, but the heat was...
The fusion wasn't.
No, the fusion was right where it needed to be. It was warm where it was supposed to be.
I've never heard anyone explore this way. So there's some juicy nuggies here.
We could be completely wrong, just spitballing, but maybe it's funny. Actually, I was trying to reach out to the guy who did that video, the Cultivate, Elevate. I I reached out to him and he couldn't do anything because back when I had the day job, he could only do stuff during the day. Maybe I'll have to reach out to him. I'll have to ask him about that because I know he's got a lot of really interesting ideas about the old world. So probably worth exploring. I'd like to kick that idea against him, see what he says. So, but anyways, I think we should end it on that note. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys want to watch these episodes early and uncensored, please support this podcast on Patreon. Also, you can support yourself, your health, and this podcast at the same time. Check out Modern Roots Life, the sponsor. And also, we talked about it earlier, we have a new Echoes of Truth coaching program. If you guys are interested in making content and you guys want to know the skinny on how to do it ethically in a godly way, please check out the link in the description. But otherwise, guys, I really appreciate all you guys do, you guys watching and supporting this podcast. I love you guys. God bless.